Hello and welcome back to Exanima. So in the previous episode, went through a bit of low-level arena stuff, checked out the outdoor environments a little bit. Unfortunately didn't get to see them in the thunder and lightning and rain, which is a really cool atmospheric effect that you can get, but hey, there's always next time. In this episode I decided we're going to go into the main game a little bit, see if we can get through the first level of the dungeon. Now, when we start a new game, we choose a class, right? And in this most recent update, they have actually removed the choice of all classes apart from the unknown, which was the original class. You can apparently unlock the other ones one by one. However, I have no idea how you do that. Now, what I do have is actually, I recently changed hard drive in my computer and I lost my global experience on Exanima, which really pissed me off because it was dozens of hours of gameplay. Global experience is like the amount that you've played it over multiple characters, affecting how you are able to start the build. See, with this character I was able to take 2 skills at the beginning instead of just 1. Now this was the Proctor class, which was my favourite. You had the Unknown, which is basically a nothing, starting with no equipment. You had the Villager, who's just like a sort of peasant civilian character. The Proctor, this character, who's a light-armoured, sword and shield kind of, sort of like a lawmaker, peacekeeper, royal guard type of character. And then you had the Knight, who starts in full plate armour. The Proctor was my favourite because the Proctor's sword is, finely crafted and well balanced. It has a really, really powerful slash and a really long reach for a one-handed weapon, so it was a very nice setup. I do only have this one character, Isabel, on this particular set of save data, so we can possibly return to her in the future, but for now I'm going to start a new one. So we'll be a mailman. We will call him Tristan, I guess, because I just watched Stardust, the film, and I love that film, and the main character is called Tristan. Let's have him pretty skinny, like that. That's sort of something like about there is pretty much my own build in IRL, and yeah, that'll do. Yeah, I'm not going to take too long with this. Wavy hair, facial beard, bit of a paler tone on this guy. Fairly high-pitched voice, young and reasonably tall. That'll do. Let's go. Now, as you can see, on this class, you have a very, very poor selection of starting equipment. All you have is a pair of trousers, pair of shoes, and a shirt. That's all you're allowed to start with. You start with no weaponry. Fend is pretty useful. I guess we'll stick with Fend. So this is the original character that you start a new game with throughout the whole development of Exanima. It's just a blank canvas, essentially. You wake up in a room, no idea who you are and how you got there. There's a burning torch next to you, which of course you immediately take and equip. There is a letter in your inventory which says, "This appears to be the final page of a letter, and assist him in whatever way you can. If all else fails, recover any information he has gathered and bring it to me. There is potential in you. Succeed here and we will find a place for you." Badly scribbled across the back of the page are the following words: "There is another way out." So, there are various bits of sort of splintered wood around here. This one has nails sticking out of it. It's our first one-handed weapon. Over this side of the room, assuming I can remember where it is, there is another one. It's like a sort of a chair leg type of thing, I think. Can't remember exactly where it is, but it's somewhere in this corner, but there it is. It looks at... Wow, that was cool. This one is like the two-handed weapon that you start with, right? So what we'll do is we'll take the torch and the spike as the primary load, and the two-hander as the secondary load. Probably won't be using too much of that two-handed weapon. However, starting as the Proctor or the Knight gives you a much stronger advantage for the early couple of stages of the game, because you start with decent armor coverage and a weapon with which you can actually defend yourself. Now, the initial NPCs that you see walking around are generally not hostile towards you. They all react differently though, and they usually sort of stop and check you out when you go near them. But you don't need to attack them, and it's very wise to not attack them unless they attack you first. Some of them will always be aggressive towards you. Some of them have like set behaviours. Worn leather gauntlets will of course take and equip those. In one of these rooms there's like a metal bone saw, which is a better one-handed piece to start with. There are various kind of shitty weapons knocking about in this place, but some of them are in set locations and some of them are dynamic. There's the hand saw. We'll take that in placement of the other one. And the first thing we need to do is to go up to the top of the level. By top I mean the opposite end to the starting area of the part of this level which is available to us when we start. There we will find a key on a body. The body has some decent clothing which we will take. So what I'm doing is heading in the general direction of the top of the screen, right? This guy has a giant axe, so I'm going to try and not aggro him. As you see, they check you out. Yeah, he's not too bothered. If they feel intimidated by you, or they feel like they have particular power over you, they're more likely to attack. And they watch you fight other people. Sometimes they join in with protecting you, or, you know, with the other person, with the aggressor. So the other thing to note is that their behaviours have memory. So once they've seen you, they remember you, and they remember their experiences. So they are different. Each encounter can be completely different and totally unpredictable, which makes it a very paranoid kind of game to play. So let's change our secondary load to the saw and the shield. And this guy has some booties, which are better than what we've got. Some nice leather trousers, cloth shirt, which again is better than ours, and a worn cloth waistcoat, which of course gives us upper body coverage. And a note. Dearest Mathis, Elara has disappeared, many have gone missing of late, but bandits in the area are not uncommon. Elara, however, does not travel. Why would they have taken her? I dread to think what they might do to her. I thought of a ransom, and so I am ashamed to admit I thought of you. But there have been no requests for ransom, just more and more missing. I assume news of these events has not reached Ardent. It has been long since we've seen a proctor. What am I to do, dear cousin? Will you at least advise me? Tessa. So this is a dead proctor here that we've discovered. And you encounter several dead proctors in the game. Most of them carry a proctor's seal, which, you know, shows their status. They seem to be kind of mercenaries, like sellsword / kind of peacekeepers. That's the best way I can sort of describe my understanding of them, but I could be completely wrong. This candlestick thing is a one-handed weapon with good, blunt, sort of crushing impact on it, so we'll take that too. And we'll just humiliate that guy. And we have completely missed the key. The key is on the table there next to him, of course we need to take that. Pop it down in the inventory. Try and just quickly sort of rearrange things a little bit. I'm going to have to be stopping to dump various pieces of equipment as they become obsolete, but for now we're not too worried about it. And we can head back down the way we came from. So the direction that I'm running in now, we need to be heading entirely in that direction, all the way back to the start. There's the Axeman again. Oh dear. Okay, this is our first hostile NPC. Now, this guy is not always... Oh man, this saw has a terrible reach. This guy does not normally get aggressive. The first guaranteed aggressive NPC you don't encounter until you've gone through the locked door, and I've just lost my balance, which means that I am almost unconscious already. This is very bad indeed. Very bad. Get off the stupid woodwork. So more so than in the arena, the kind of objects that you see like this are affected by gravity. He took a tumble over that crate just as I did. You can use them to your advantage. The early ones who are immediately aggressive are usually the most stupid in terms of AI. They're kind of like zombies, whereas other people that you encounter whose behaviours are more reserved tend to be like fully human type of people, and therefore they have more dynamic behaviours and stuff. Anyway, that went badly, but we got a tunic out of it, so that's fine. There's another zombie type there, so I'm not feeling particularly good about doing this. Now, the other thing is about this game is that they can't open doors, so you can shut the door behind yourself, and you're safe from them. I'm just going to wait here for a second for that non-lethal damage to regenerate a bit. We should be able to get back to full HP. In the main game, restoring your HP can only be done... restoring, like wound damage, like red damage on your HP bar, can only be achieved by using a health tonic thing. And they are incredibly hard to come by. There is only one in the entire game so far, which is in a fixed location. We're going to get that very shortly. Now, this is the room next to where we started from. And if we use the key, we unlock the door. And this is our first checkpoint. And this guy is always aggressive. And has an axe, which can be very nasty when it's pinning you against a wall like that. The range on this weapon is absolutely terrible. And it's kind of... the nuances of its moveset are really poor as well. I can see there's another guy joining in here. And he is also attacking me, so... and he has a sledgehammer. The bane of early game existence. And I just fell over, now he's going to sledge me in the face. Oh, just avoided it. Luckily he's tangled up in that chair a bit. So you can see how unpredictable the battles can be when your character loses their balance and falls over, which is done in entirely realistic ways, as they would do. And here's another fucker. Terrific. This is going very badly indeed. This weapon absolutely sucks. I really need to get a better one-handed weapon. The early part of this dungeon is very, very dark and has areas of actual pitch darkness. You cannot see anything at all without the... ah, God, come on, man. Play fair. Got tangled up in his sledgehammer and pulled to the ground. It's really hard to predict the range of that that saw. I really don't like it very much. But we'll take his sledge. And that was a two-handed axe. So, we did lose a little bit of permanent HP there. I mean, a little bit of wound damage. But nothing too serious. And when we unlocked the door, that is the first checkpoint. The checkpoints are optional. You don't have to have them turned on. It means that if you have them turned off, then death is permanent in the game. But normally they are just at the very, very end of each level. And it means that if you get killed, you can start. You don't have to start from the beginning again. You can resume your character. However, you can't. There's no like manual saving and loading, so you can't save scum in any way. You can't undo anything that's happened. Sort of like Dark Souls in that way, but works a little bit differently. And this through here, this blue glow, as you can see, is the first and only health tonic, which is in a fixed location. So of course we need that. It's very, very important that we have it. Through there is this death trap maze of like timed puzzles, which is really difficult to get through. We'll do that at some point, I imagine, but it gets you like a shortcut to sort of towards the end of the area, as well as some nice armor at the end, but we're not going to take it this time. Yeah. There's a couple of very aggressive enemies in this pitch dark corridor, which is really annoying because you have to have the torch out if you want to fight them in here, or else you can't see anything. And you can lure them back out to the well-lit area, but it's risky. And there's lots of things to trip over in this corridor as well, like these diagonal beams. The range on this thing is... ah, dearie me. Take some more permanent damage there. The range on this thing is absolutely appalling. It really is like... not as good of a weapon as I thought, but we do need the second key off that guy's body. So, yeah. Some quilted trousers there, at least. So we've already lost about a quarter HP in permanent damage, which is not good. I usually, when I play this like off camera, I try to like reach, at the very least, the end of the second level without taking any permanent damage. Which requires playing very methodically and not using this weapon. I do really need to switch, but... see, even the piece of wood has a far better range. And if he's hitting me in the torso, that's alright because we're relatively well covered, but in the face or something, we're taking more permanent damage. It's really not good. But I might switch to my Proctor character because I think she's at the same checkpoint. Just to show you how different it can be. But I'm going to change to this weapon now. Because, yeah, basically about a third of my HP down. It's pretty much a fucking disaster. When you have low global experience and a terrible equip load as the unknown, it's basically it's anyone's guess how it's going to go. Another aggressor here who has a pole arm. Pole arm, very annoying. because of its range. Oh no, in fact he has a bill, which is like a sort of like a cutlass blade on the end of a spear is the best way to describe it. It's sort of like a blade with a curved edge. When they fall to the ground, you can get a cheap overhead in, as you saw in the previous episode, and you can smash down on them while they stand up. Actually on the verge of being rendered unconscious here. Well, that went very badly. Down to half HP already, so I'm not expecting that we'll get especially far with this playthrough, but I might use the health tonic thing at the end of the level or something. A list of people assigned to guard duty here. The same names are repeated, signed and stamped over and over again. Occasionally a name disappears suddenly and is replaced by another. No reason for this is noted. Because they were taken by the darkness of the dungeon. The darkest dungeon. Oh god. This could be game over. This guy has a walking crutch as his weapon. Probably going to be able to see the unconsciousness mechanic here. He's just swinging wildly, but the range on this thing is quite noticeable, so... Yeah, so this is unconsciousness. As you can see by the HP, we're down about 60% of the HP, but got rendered unconscious by the temporary damage. And you wake up sometime later with your equipment on the ground next to you. So my piece of wood should be somewhere as well. Although that's not guarantee. So let's go for the axe as a secondary load and the candlestick as this one. And then the enemies are not always where you left them, of course. They've sort of walked off as you've been unconscious. But sometimes, you know, as you wake up from unconsciousness, they do there is someone next to you who just attacks you straight away. So the unpredictability of it is not necessarily designed to be fair, but designed to be immersive. And that's a lot of people, I imagine, would complain about that, saying, "Oh, there's no actual guarantee that you can win the game at any point." It's like, well, yeah, but that's how it would really be. So, you know, if you die, just do it again. Having said that, sometimes you do get incredibly lucky, and you can just breeze through the entire thing without ever taking any damage and get you like really good drops. Get like 3 health tonics and stuff. Right, so that's death. Completely ran out of like unwounded damage, so that's something. But what I'll do now is just switch to... So here we are. This is the point at which we opened that locked door. So we can start again from that point with full HP. I also have this Proctor character who is at the same point of the game, so we'll switch to her for a bit, just for the hell of it, because her sword and maneuverability are much, much better. So we should get this aggressor here, yeah. And you can see how balanced and well ranged that sword is compared to what we were using is so incredible that, you know, it makes it a completely different experience to play. And just for a fun casual run, the Proctor has always been my favourite. Because these early enemies are not well armoured, you can get some really powerful slashes in like that with the sword. And that was what, like 2 properly connected attacks took that guy down. And this is Like, not even halfway through level 1, so there you go. So it does make sense that they would, like, put those characters as being unlockable again. I just wish that I'd known they were going to do that, so I could have had a character of each class on the go in my character list. But never mind. It's not like I'm not going to unlock them, so pull this lever down to unlock the next gate. And of course, we go and grab the health tonic, which is just through here, along with a lurker. There's a guy who normally lurks in this little antechamber somewhere. So we're not going to hang around too long, because he can sometimes be aggy. I slammed the door in my own face. Brilliant. Just shut it behind you is always good practice as well, as long as you know where you're going. It's very easy to get lost unless you know the maps off by heart. A good way of getting around that is to, like, leave the doors open of the places that you've been through. It's just a good visual cue to know where you've been before. So you can see the speed and versatility of this weapon is markable compared to what we were using before. That appalling little handsaw thing, little like tenon saw, is so shitty in comparison. And the key master is somewhere around here, ready to pounce in the darkness. So we'll take it slow. Somewhere in this corridor. He's one of the set enemies, the enemies with set behaviours. He always is aggressive, and he is always somewhere around the area of this dark corridor, because the end of the corridor is where the key is. I mean, the locked door. You don't ever really have to look that hard for him, but he still manages to pounce from around a corner. Oh, damn. That sucks. God damn. Right, well, but you can see that the range of the Proctor's sword is comparable to his own two-hander. Zweihander. Nonetheless, did lose a quarter of our HP in that encounter. What I do sometimes when I'm trying to get a full run is to, just at this point, take off all the armour and just allow myself to be killed by people. That's obviously well cheap, but it's just when I'm practicing on the later levels, which have non-human enemies that are ridiculously tough. Like it has this giant beast and these sort of really tall armoured golem things. Golem, however you say that. They're in levels 4 and 5. But there are currently 5 levels, right? Levels 1 to 3 are in this aesthetic style, this kind of medieval dungeon look with human habitation and that sort of thing. And then levels 4 and 5 are in, well, at the end of level 3 you go through this mysterious blue portal and it takes you to another place. And don't really understand much about what that place is, but it's like everything is made out of sort of burnished gold and brass, and it looks like a lot older than this area. It looks kind of a bit like antiquity. Everything, all the weapons and armour you find in there have very strange aesthetic styles. Some of them look a little bit Spartan. and there are no humans, well, almost no humans. Only skeletons. You get armoured skeletons with a variety of weapons and armour who are really tough. Gombison there. And you get this giant demonic beast in level 4 and these golems in level 5 who look like knights in armour, but they're about twice as tall as a human. And so they are absolute hell to fight. You have to get good with the ducking, the crouching mechanic in combat. By which I mean that you can crouch down with C, and it's really useful for getting underneath their attacks because they're so tall. It doesn't work as well with the demon guy because he has like this downward two-handed smashing punch where he puts his hands together to make like one big fist, and he like punches downwards. It's pretty rough stuff. Anyway, we're nearly at the end of the level here. If I can just make it to the end. The problem is actually with this is that if I reach the end of the level, it will activate a checkpoint where I've lost that HP. This is another set enemy who is always aggressive, and he has the basic two-handed sword from the arena mode. So if you can make it to this point of the level with shit weapons, your first good one is this really, if you like a weapon with a good reach like I do. It becomes your main one unless you have to use the torch, in which case of course you can't have it. But he basically signals the end of the level, so what I'm going to do here, actually I'll just show you the next room because I think there's some interesting lore. Are you Aggie? Yes you are. You saw him flee there. Sometimes when they've bitten off more than they can chew in combat, they will flee combat. And then when they're in a corner, they may kind of attack again. But no, he was weakened, so he wanted to get out of there, but it was no good. So through there is the end of the level and the next checkpoint. This is Parchment. Heyman has obviously cast aside our agreement. He's sending far too many down here, and I've lost all contact with him. What is he trying to do? One of these wretches confessed that he was told to seek treasure. Someone will notice all these missing people, and what if one finds me while I sleep? I no longer feel safe here. I have locked the doors, but I should venture further and look for something more secure. So there you go. It's like Dark Souls in that you get sort of drip fed the lore, which makes the lore far more interesting and the atmosphere far more like immersive and mysterious, which I love. I will end this episode here, you guys. What I might do is just go back and redo this as this character losing less HP, and then we will do the next level as her, or I don't know, maybe with the unknown. I'm just messing around really. I just want to do these videos kind of however I feel like it at the time. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, do press like, that does help me, and I will see you next time for more Exanima. Take care, goodbye!